Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anthropology 205, Archaeology in the Human Past. This is our Introduction to Archaeology class within the Anthropology Department at Southern. And you're taking it as an online asynchronous course here during the intersession. I do this for every time I do an online class. You're going to see some recordings of me throughout the class. That some of those recordings were recorded recently, some of them a couple of years ago. So you might see me looking a little bit different than this in some of the videos. Don't sweat it if you see that. The course is a living thing, and I update it regularly. So new material goes in there pretty often. So what I'm going to do in this video is just introduce you to the course, show you the syllabus, walk you through Blackboard. Because this is an online class, it's run pretty much entirely through Blackboard. I want to make sure you're really comfortable with using those tools to actually complete the course. So I thought I would start us with the syllabus itself. So you can find that on Blackboard under the very first tab. It says syllabus. You just click on this, it's going to bring up the syllabus, and you'll be able to look through it. So a couple of things to note, of course, right, the title of the course and the course number. The course section is 01. That's just information that might be useful to you for your record keeping reasons or whatever. The date range of when the course runs. Obviously, we're a couple of days into the class now, and the class runs until July 2nd. So first note is this is an entire semester-long course. It normally is taught in 15 weeks in a semester. We're going to be doing it in roughly half that time, right? So that's pretty fast. So it's actually a little bit less than half. So you'll see that the course is not trimmed or anything because it's a summer course. The expectation is you're taking less credits. You should be able to focus a little more time on this each week. So that'll be something to keep in mind. You'll see the structure of the course is a little bit different from in the semester. Information here about myself, my name, Dr. Farley. I should tell you who I am. I'm an associate professor in the anthropology department, so I am a full-time faculty member, permanent faculty member at Southern, and that means that I will be here for the foreseeable future. So if you enjoy this course, you want to take other classes in anthropology, if you're interested in anthropology maybe as a major or as a minor or just something where you maybe want to take some classes, you want to learn more about archaeology and hear about the different offerings we have in archaeology. For instance, my archaeology field school that starts in July that actually you could still sign up for if you want to. So if you start taking this course and you go, wow, archaeology is cool, I'd love to learn how to do this. You actually could take a field school this summer and actually do archaeology for real. Email me if you want to ask about that. You actually can still sign up for it, believe it or not. There's space, so don't hesitate to do that if you want. But maybe you want to do that in the future. I will be here. I'm around, so reach out to me. You can get in contact with me. The best way is this email here, which is my university email. During the summer, I don't have set office hours, so I do it by appointment. That's usually how most students prefer to do it anyway. So just reach out to me and say, hey, I'd like to chat with you about something. We could do a virtual appointment. I'm actually going to be on campus fairly often, at least a couple of days a week. So we can also meet in person if you're more comfortable doing that. In terms of course description and objectives, what is this class? It's going to become clear as you start to do the modules, but this is an introduction to archaeology, which is the science of and the study of the human past. So that separates it from something like paleontology, right? So the study of like dinosaurs or ancient non-human things, animals in the past, or plants in the past. Archaeology is very specifically about the study of human history in the human past through material remains, through the things we leave behind, archaeological sites, artifacts, that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to be learning about in here, right? So that makes anthropology partially a physical science, like a paleontology or a biology or a geology or something like that, because it's a field science. We do digging, we use all those tools. It's also very much a social science because, of course, it's the study of human culture in the past. That's why this is a part of the anthropology department in the United States. Archaeology is generally considered a subdiscipline of anthropology. It's also a humanity, right? Because it's, of course, we're interested in things like history and art history and languages and all of that sort of stuff, right? So architecture, right? I don't know, a lot of different things. Hugely interdisciplinary science. You're going to learn all about that in this course. The course is kind of broken up into two parts, one a little shorter than the other. The first set of modules are about what archaeology is and what archaeologists do. So it's a methodology section of the course. So you're going to learn about how archaeologists find sites, how they date them, how we find artifacts, how we find what an artifact is, how we kind of interpret what artifacts are and what they mean, right? All that sort of thing is going to be in there. That's the sort of first part of the course. And then the second, maybe 2/3 of the course is going to be a somewhat chronological run through the basics of what archaeology has taught us about human history. So starting with human evolution and our earliest ancestors millions of years ago, and running right up to, actually at the end of the course, you're going to start learning about how some people are doing the archaeology of today, of right now, people actually actively living even in things like digital spaces, right? So we're going to do millions of years of history in a matter of a few weeks. So we're going to move in fast. We're not going to hit everything. This is an introductory course, but it'll give you sort of the basics. No textbooks for this course. Everything you need is done through Blackboard. The course looks very simple in terms of major assignments and grades. Like there's only 3 things here. You'll notice when you get into the modules, that's not actually true. There are 2 exams, which are worth a big chunk of your grade. But then this labs, forums, participation section here is actually about a dozen, 14 different, much smaller little assignments. So your grade is actually made up of a combination of those. I'll say about the labs and forums, they are participatory, in the sense that when you'll see me go in and just grade them every once in a while, and you'll see a bunch of like 10s appear, right, in each one of them. Essentially what I'm doing is checking to see that you've done them. None of them have right or wrong answers, right? They're all asking you to engage with the material in a deeper way, or to do a lab, which means usually like experientially trying something we're learning about, right? And so you're being graded on your effort, let's say, right? If you were in elementary school, you'd be getting a check or a check plus or a little smiley face sticker, right? I'm being reductive, but right, it is the same kind of thing. I want you to just engage with these things. The exams are the place where you're going to be getting tested on like your actual absorption of the knowledge or in information, the ability to go find sort of answers. What I'll say is that the exams and everything else, of course, is open book. So when you get to the exams, when you get to the midterm exam, when you get to the final exam and you're ready to take those, which you should take after you've done a certain number of the modules, they are meant to be taken with all the materials on Blackboard. So I want you to see the question, go, okay, I think that's for module 4. I'm going to go back into module 4. I'm going to go into the lecture slides. I'm going to go into the recorded lecture. I'm going to go into my notes. I'm going to go into my discussion responses and see if I can get the right answer that way, right? So, excuse me. So think of all that as quite active, right? I don't really care if you memorize the dates of layer C at Schuttelhayek. I just don't like it. That's not interesting information to me. Like, that's written down in a book, right? I'd rather you be making connections and thinking critically. That's what I want you to display for me in the labs and the forums and the exams as well. Now, this is a Tier 2 course within the LEP under time and place. So that's probably the reason why most of you are taking this, which is fun, which is great. That the LEP gets you introduced to lots of new ideas. So this just has a little overview of how this fits into the curriculum of the LEP, right? So you have an idea of why this course counts for that sort of, if you're interested in such things, you can certainly read this. You'll see this in all of your syllabi. It's going to be a little information about how this fits into the LEP for whatever course you're taking. Little thing here about plagiarism and misconduct and etiquette and that sort of stuff. Not really that relevant for this course because the class is essentially open book. I mean, if it's obvious that you're sort of just copying stuff off the internet somewhere that's not from the course materials, that's not good. But otherwise, it's hard to plagiarize. We don't have any actual like written papers in here or anything like that. So, but information in here about that and what my standards are on that. Most important, perhaps, is accommodations. I have a link out to CASAS here, which is the office that will help if you're a student with disabilities or you think you have disabilities that you need some kind of help for. You don't have to be, I don't think you have to be diagnosed by a doctor. I really don't know how this works, and I get no information about this. You can go to CASAS, tell them what you need. They will help you get the accommodations you need. They communicate with me just what you need. They don't tell me why. It is not my business. It just tells me how I can give you what you need. So take advantage of that. Again, in a class like this, the vast majority of people's accommodations they're asking for, which is like extended time on an exam or a quiet space to take an exam. not super relevant in this class, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe there's an accommodation that you do need and I might be able to provide for you. So take advantage of CASAS. Now, here's where I can take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about the unique nature of a course like this. So here's the course schedule. It doesn't really have a schedule. So because this is an online asynchronous class, it's module based. So there's a total of, let's say, 14 modules. So roughly coinciding to one for each week of a normal semester. Semester is usually 15 weeks with a week of vacation in there somewhere, right? So this is basically a semester. And you'll notice here that each of these has a topic. So basic principles and introduction, chronology and dating. As I said right at the beginning, is more method focused, site survey and space. And then we start to, after a few of the modules, you'll start getting into that information about the course. You'll notice some themes start to emerge. One of the things I'm going to ask you to engage with in here is taking those methodological abilities and applying them to real archaeological sites and spaces. Another is recognition that archaeology, like all things, is in fact has political weight. So we'll talk about ethics throughout the course as well. So you'll see in there, occasionally it's going to come up that we're going to talk about how does archaeology impact indigenous communities? How are archaeological sites and materials sometimes trafficked or taken as acts of colonialism or imperialism, or debates about whether certain objects should be removed from museums and given back to nations where they came from, or places in the world where they came from, or people where they came from, right? We're going to engage with those sorts of questions because you're going to learn here that archaeology, I would say like all things, is not a little scientific vacuum. It does exist in a world of political reality, and so we're going to engage with that too. So some of the topics are going to relate to that. That's a somewhat of a minority aspect of the course, but it's an important aspect of the course. And like I said, you'll just move through these modules. There are no due dates on these modules. Everything is due when the course is over, which is the 2nd of July. So that means I will grade things throughout the semester. So the course, I'll go in and just grade a bunch of things, when I get a chance. But I will not download the completed grade book until after July 2nd when you've handed everything in. If you want to hand everything in the last 3 days, you are welcome to do that. I would not encourage such behavior. I think you'll find yourself in hot water if you try and do that. But some students have reported to me that, oh yeah, I did the whole course in the last week and a half, and it was a pain in the ass, but I did it. So you can do that. That's not, I would strongly encourage you to try and pace yourself and try and be doing maybe 2 or 3 modules a week between now and the end of the session, and that will keep you on track to not ever have that kind of a glut of stuff. Simultaneously, you do the whole course in the next 2 weeks and be done with it early. You're welcome to do that as well. That's totally fine. So the modules are meant to be taken in the order that they appear. So do 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. There is a trajectory to the course. And then there's a midterm and a final, which we'll see on Blackboard in just a second, appear after where you're supposed to take them within the modules. So it's after, I think module 6 is the midterm. We'll see in just a second. And then the last one after module 14, right? So, okay. Neat. That's it. That's it for the syllabus. Let's go over to Blackboard and take a look at that. So you're looking at the sort of teacher version of Blackboard. So a little bit on here that's a bit different. It's very simple. I think how this is set up. You'll notice over here on the left, some basic info, syllabus, intro video. I have a YouTube channel where I make archaeology related content. Some of that gets used in the course. So I have a link out to that, which you're welcome to check out. There's a lot of stuff on there that's not used in the course. You're welcome to have fun with any of that as well. Some of it's fun, but check that out. Obviously, I use that stuff sparingly, but it's meant to be educational, so I use it in my courses when I can, because it's why not? It was a waste of my time if I don't use it. Other people use it too, which is cool. But you can go and sort of check it out on your own if you want. This video will be appearing right here. Right now it's invisible because you'll see there it's actually got the wrong semester because I haven't uploaded the new one yet. And then you just start working through these modules. So this is what a typical module is going to look like. There's usually going to be a copy of the PowerPoint so you can get the literal. Usually I have it as a PDF. This one's actually has a PowerPoint itself, which I need to update that. Then there is a link out to a video, usually on actually a different YouTube channel that I have just for holding on to these lectures. So it's nothing to do with my own sort of my own YouTube channel. This is just a place where I house these because it's the easiest way that I found to actually just share these videos so that you can watch them. And YouTube has all kinds of functionality that students really prefer. They're not monetized. They don't have ads. They shouldn't have ads. If they do have ads, tell me they're not supposed to. So you can just watch them at your own pace. And then typically each module will have, not all of them, there's a couple that don't, but most of the modules have something for you to do. So for in this case, I have to clear these out. I'm sorry, excuse me. There's some old answers from a previous semester here, and I'll do that ASAP. But some people, the ones with these on here, these are people from the course, have already started to answer, which is great. The ones that say anonymous are from a previous. I have to delete those every semester, and I forgot to do it. So one more thing for me to do. So for now, just ignore those. Don't worry about those. I mean, you could read them. But they're from a different course. So you'll go through and you'll see a question from me. It's going to be way on page 2 because I haven't deleted all these. It'll be pretty clear which one is the one for me once I get this cleaned up. So you find the question that's for me, and then you just answer it. To be honest, this is not how I'd prefer you guys to do it. I'd prefer if you just responded to the thread that I started instead of making a new thread for each one. I know it's confusing to use these discussion forums, but they're the best thing that Blackboard has to offer for doing this sort of thing. Some of the modules have labs instead of discussion forums. For instance, Module 2 and 3 actually both have labs. And in this case, there's the video of the actual lecture. There's a short video that does instructions on how to do the lab, the materials you need for the lab, and then a place for you to submit the lab. So everything that you need is here to do that. These are all things that you can do virtually. Archaeological Survey also has a lab. Module 4 is probably the most intensive, definitely the most intensive of the whole class. It has a quite long lecture. It actually asks you to watch a lecture from outside, a guest lecture. There's a discussion forum for you to respond to. And then there's actually a lab as well. This is definitely, Module 4 is the biggest module. It's the most complicated one. In the semester, I take 2 weeks to do this one topic because it's just a huge topic, huge and very important. Some of the other modules have less. For instance, this Peopling of the New World one just has videos to watch. This is actually one lecture. It's broken up into 3 different parts, although it's the same lecture size as a normal one, with no discussion forum to do or any lab to do. And then Module 6 is a film for you to watch, and then a discussion forum that asks you actually to do a little bit of thinking about the film and its relation back to Module 5, right? So just, if you follow the instructions of what's in the module, it's pretty clear what you have to do. But if you have questions, of course, ask. The midterm and the final are already available. And you should take them in the order that they appear on Blackboard. So the midterm should be taken after you do Module 6, and then the final should be taken after you do Module 14, right? And that's how you sort of finish it. There are also some extra credit questions that ask you to watch something and then respond to them. If you do the extra credit, you'll get an additional 5 points for each onto the percentage grade of your midterm or your final. Doesn't actually matter which one. On my end, mathematically, they're the same. So let's say you got an 85 percentage-wise on the midterm. You do both of these extra credits, that grade becomes 95, right? So it's a substantial jump to your grade. So take advantage of that if you are so willing. All right, I'm going to end it there because that was a lot of information. Email me, let me know if you have any questions, and welcome to the course. Glad to have you.